House of Representatives moves to stop transfer of debts by discos. House takes steps to fast-track criminal cases. And House investigates alleged killing by customs officials. Hello, it's great to know you've been waiting to join us on You and Your Reps, where we bring you up to speed on happenings in Nigeria's House of Representatives. My name is Victor Azul. Thanks for joining us. The House of Representatives wants to amend Section 6 of the 1999 Constitution to address delays in dispensation of criminal cases. The House says the amendment will cure a defect in the criminal justice system and assist in fast-tracking determination of cases related to corruption and money laundering. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
House members, while debating the constitutional amendment bill, were of the view that this is akin to denial of justice in addition to unnecessary and avoidable costs and pains to the litigants. Representative Onofio Luke is the sponsor of the bill.
This constitutional proposal is made to give dispensation to a judge of a high court who has been elevated to the Court of Appeal to continue to sit as a judge in order to conclude part-head criminal matter, given the advantages it gives to our judicial system.
Let's give the judge who has been elevated to the higher court a period of, say, 3 months to clear his table before he assumed a new office.
The judge can decide to sit on these cases to eternity. So if as much as we are trying to cure the mischief in that aspect, I think we should cure it properly.
Also passed at second reading is the bill sponsored by Representative Alex Ebuna, seeking to establish Institute of Development and Administration of Nigeria.
One thing about the bill is that it does not put any financial burden on the federal government, meaning that the National Assembly will not have any need to appropriate funds for the budget for the running of the institute.
Plenary featured the passage of 5 bills, including a bill to establish Federal University of Agriculture Dadinkowa in Gombe State. Meanwhile, the House is to investigate alleged violation of safety procedure by airlines as raised by Representative Sani Bala, just as it resolved to investigate alleged discriminatory practices against persons with disability at airports as moved by Representative Miriam Onoha.
One Dr. Chike Okogu, who is living with disability, Dana Airline barred him from boarding its aircraft after he had obtained a boarding pass on the ground that a new policy forbids carrying passengers on wheelchair.
The lawmakers have passed a resolution to investigate the status of the contract awarded by the federal government in 2011 at the cost of 72.3 billion naira for the rehabilitation of the 1,443 kilometers Port Harcourt-Maiduguri section of the Eastern Rail Line.
The House of Representatives has adopted a resolution to investigate the alleged sporadic shooting by officials of Nigeria Customs Service in a Iseyin local government area of Oyo State, which left 5 people dead after being hit by stray bullets.
The issue was raised as a matter of urgent public importance by Representative Shino Pella, who explained that the residents of Ojaoba were on Thursday last week, while celebrating the Eid festival, showed into mourning mood. This was as a result of the death of 5 persons following alleged sporadic shooting in the town by some personnel of the Nigeria Customs Service who were in pursuit of a vehicle laden with bags of rice.
If these men had been properly cautioned and trained in the process of recruiting them, bearing in mind that they carry arms, these strategies would have been avoided.
The House Committee on Customs has been mandated to investigate the incidents. Also to be investigated is alleged extortion by Federal Capital Territory Council's officials on business outlets and premises as moved by Representative Yusuf Tajuddin.
Business outlets are private enterprises that have been under threat, intimidation and coercion by the task force operating in the Federal Capital Territory area councils under different guises forcing business owners to pay legal fees which are not remitted into the government coffers but private pockets of the task force officials.
The House at plenary urged the Federal Ministry of Education to introduce a policy that will ensure inclusive learning for visually impaired students in schools. A bill seeking the repeal and reenactment of the Fire Service Act in a bill for transition and assumption of office of the President passed second reading. Meanwhile, the Deputy Speaker, Ahmed Idris Wasi, brought to the notice of members two presidential communications requesting approval for implementation of external borrowing plans.
Now, inundated with complaints from electricity consumers, the House of Representatives has resolved to investigate the transfer of debts by distribution companies of Nigeria from one consumer to another.
The resolution was in response to a motion from Representative Abiola Olatunji. The House frowned at the transfer of debts incurred by old electricity customers to new users, a practice the lawmakers describe as unfair. The House Committee on Power was mandated to engage discourse and relevant regulatory agencies on the matter. The lawmakers also urged the federal government to direct the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission to suspend the decision to further increase electricity tariff effective June 2021, as moved by Representative Anyekan Umana.
NEC, working with distribution companies as the discourse, has increased electricity tariff 5 times since 2015. And the latest being on January 1st, 2021.
Turning attention to the ongoing strike by Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria, the House called on the federal government to resolve it, as raised by Representative Zajos Ogun.
The closure of courts portends grave danger to the polity and is capable of exacerbating the current security situation in the country.
Other considerations at plenary Thursday include second reading of a bill to amend Matrimonial Cause Act from Representative Obinna Chidoka, in a bill seeking to reenact the Patents and Designs Act to protect inventions, as moved by Representative Taiwo Uluga.
The essence of this bill is to celebrate our intellectuals. The intellectual properties rights are exclusive rights that are conferred by law to an individual enterprise, corporation, and legal entity for the product of individual enterprise or corporation.
Meanwhile, the House has shown support for the establishment of African Regional Parliamentary Assembly of the Sahel and Sahara States on Great Green Wall, as tabled by Representative Johnson Oguma. Plenary has been adjourned for 1 week as the House holds a 5-day summit on national security commencing Monday next week.
The phrase constituency project may be controversial, but it is not unique to Nigeria. A making of the legislature in Nigeria's Fourth Republic, the concept was born out of necessity. Let's find out how and why.
Constituency projects had not always existed. It came into existence at a particular stage. Most Nigerians, not only in Nigeria, but a lot of countries, especially third world countries, people have essentially misconceived the role of the legislature as lawmakers. So most of the time, they keep on asking, what have you done for us? They want to see your practical impact. My role as a legislator, member of the National Assembly, is to pass laws for the corporate existence of Nigeria, good governance, development, and growth. But in addition to that, members want the members of the public want to see practically, this is what I built, this is the water scheme that I constructed, this is the school that I built, which is not part of the legislative functions. Yet the members of the public cannot take any other explanation They want you to show them practically what is your achievement, what have you done. When you tell them that, well, I've done so, I've enacted so bills into passed so bills into law, I've done this, I've done that, I've appropriations. I'm part of the team that passed the appropriation bill for 4 years. Appropriation bill contains so amount of money, and the projects executed, blah 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 blah. They don't want to see that. They don't want to hear that. All they want to see is, as a member of the House of Representatives, which road did you build? Which hospital did you build? Which is completely outside the jurisdiction of your existing. So, because of this, the rate of attrition of members of the National Assembly, both Senate and House of Representatives, every 4 years is very, very high. Very few members come back because of this problem. They want you to see what have you done. They don't want to hear that you are the one who gave approved money for president to do all the projects. They don't want to hear that you are the one who approved money for members of the State Assembly. You are the one who approved money for all the projects executed by the governor. No. Apart from the work of the president, apart from the work of the governor, what you show us what you, as a member of House of Representatives, done. So it was because of this difficulty now, members now came up with the idea that yes, there must be constituency projects. Annually, since then, 100 billion is appropriated. In the case of Nigeria, it is shared 40-60. Members of the House of Representatives get 60% of the money. Members of the Senate get 40% of the money. The money is not given in cash. It is domiciled in the ministries and extra-ministerial departments. They are the ones who will advertise for the contracts. They are the ones who will award the contracts. And they will be the ones who will be responsible for the execution of those projects. In your capacity as a senator or as a member of House of Representatives, all you would be required to do is to nominate the community that where the hospital, the school, the road will be sited. And then after the completion of the work, you will issue a letter agreeing, certifying that yes, the job has been completed, so that the contractor will be paid by the ministry or agency that awarded the contract. Not a single kobo is given to any member of a senator or a senator. The projects are executed by the ministries. The monies are domiciled in the ministries and extra-ministerial departments.
Representatives of the people bear the burden of the people and advance their causes. So, on this segment, I engaged the Chief Whip of the House of Representatives, Mohammed Monguno, on the challenges of his constituents and efforts to address them.
As you know, Borno State happens to be the epicenter of the Boko Haram insurgency. And at a point in time, my constituency was overrun by Boko Haram insurgency, and they are effectively in control in that constituency. They have even hosted their flags. Before the advent of this administration, and they were flushed out. And we are able to effectively come back to the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It's like before we have been excised out of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Right now, the security situation, though, has improved but has not abated completely. In the sense that there are a series of attacks, and almost all the villages in my constituency are for now non-existent, in the sense that they are staying in IDP camps in the local government headquarters, and some of them are staying in the host communities among their relatives and what have you. And it is the same for all the 3 local governments. In fact, one of my local government is completely empty until about 6 months ago, through the effort of our governor. Because of the zeal, commitment, and determination that he has shown, the people were able to be resettled back to the headquarters of the local government. And as a result of the precarious security situation in my constituency, there is no permanent activity. There is no meaningful economic activity. As a result, majority of the people are dependent on handouts from government and non-governmental organizations. So my focus, my primary focus, and also being the primary focus of governance, is to provide peace and security to the citizens. So my primary purpose is that of bringing about peace and security to my constituency, and towards that direction I have sponsored various motions calling on the executive and other relevant arms and agencies of government to take proactive steps with a view to restoring normalcy in my constituency. I also sponsored the bill for the establishment of a center or an agency for the control of small arms and light weapons, that we now have an avalanche of it in the state, in the hands of non-state actors. And I'm happy that Mr. President has also established that agency, domiciled under the Office of the National Security Advisor.
And Nigerians have been speaking on the clamor for financial autonomy for all arms and levels of government. What do they think? Let's take a listen.
We have 3 arms of government, and it is expected that all of them are independent, though they can work together, but they are independent of each other. So I think the agitation for autonomy of our judiciary is something it's a welcome development that I feel that should be granted. If they are not independent, you'll discover that most of the time they have to source their funding from the government, from the executive arm of the government, and if they are to do something, if they are to perform their work as expected, and you discover that this work will affect the executive arm of the government, it is possible they will be muzzled. But if they are thoroughly, if they are independent, then you expect them to be able to do their work. So if they are not truly independent, then justice also will be perverted to a very large extent.
Actually, under democratic setting, judiciary ordinarily they are supposed to be autonomous. So if they are not, that means it's not democracy.
The judiciary matter is a constitutional matter. Anything constitutional should allow the constitution to have its way. A democratic government is controlled and be coordinated by constitution. The governor should, as a matter of urgency and necessity, to allow the state judiciary to have the autonomy. Even at the legislative level, the House of Assembly they have to have their autonomous. That is the only way that democracy can thrive. Even so be it, at the local government level, they should be allowed autonomous. That we have a full-fledged democracy.
These things are very clear. The provisions are within the Constitution. All they need to do is to make sure advice, admonishment is given to those in position of authority, especially the governors. And it's all because of what? The funds that are involved. Otherwise, tell me, is the autonomy of local governments not there? The judiciary that you're talking about, is it not there? They are clearly spelled out. So all they need to do is talk to the governors.
Each of the separate arms of government should have an autonomy, so that there can be a check and balances in the systems of the democracy we are running in the country.
This week on You and Your Reps, the committee segment takes on the House Committee on Customs and Excise, chaired by Leke Abejide. He represents the Yagba Federal Constituency of Kogi State.
We are overseeing custom, activities of custom, and as you know, custom has a major role to play in trade facilitation. So we are the watchdog. We are checking now how the clearing process is taking place at the ports, whether they are following the federal government mission of trade facilitation, that is ease of doing business, whether they are supporting it in their operations. We check it out. Then also majorly revenue. They are major revenue generator to government. They generate a lot of revenue to the federal government. Like if you look at last year, the 2020 contribution of custom is 1.52 trillion. So which, if they can do that during COVID, so we are expecting nothing less than 2 trillion from them in this 2021. That the COVID has gone down, though the COVID is somehow there, but now we have vaccine that one can take and move around and do his or her normal businesses. Thirdly, we pass finance bill, which has become an act because it has been signed by the president. In that finance bill, the levy on new vehicles that used to be 35% has been reduced to 5%. So there is a possibility that there will be influx. People will be able to bring in, instead of smuggling through the border, they will come through the ports and now be able to pay their revenue, pay duties to government. So there's possibility of an increase that, yes, they will make whatever charges given to them. We discovered that custom is making the money for government, but actually what they're supposed to enjoy, they are not enjoying it. So this oversight going out physically enabled me to see a lot of things that are missing in custom. One, I discovered there is a 17-year gap of lack of no recruitment. 17-year gap, there was no recruitment for 17 years. Anywhere we went to, we are confronted with problem of shortage of personnel in Nigeria Customs Service. And if you want this smuggling, because we have so many borders, if we want the smuggling to end, definitely you need personnel to be on ground. As much as you need technology, so also you need personnel to operate them. And also, even if you are using technology, technology can only show you, oh, this is what is happening here. It cannot arrest. So human being has to do the arrest. So we need them on ground, especially the junior staff. And from what I heard from the CGC when I met him one-on-one, he said there are only two ways to solve this problem. Number one, they have to recruit massively into custom. Then two, they, because of the 17-year gap, there will be a time the most senior officer in custom will be DSC. Will be DSC. Can you see? DSC. And DSC is still a junior rank. It will be the, yes, Deputy Superintendent of Customs will be the highest. So the only option is to look for those who have retired in custom, that they are still not, they are within the age, that are still vibrant with knowledge, with experience, to come back as contract staff for 2 years. Or those who are supposed to go now, that they are experienced officers, they can delay them for 2 years to train those coming behind. Otherwise, there will be nobody to show what is going on in custom to anybody that is coming on new.
Our best wishes to the House Committee on Customs and Excise in its assignment. And that's you and your reps for the week. We thank you for watching. My name is Victor Azu. See you next time.